Power, it has always been the forbidden fruit of the automotive world. We crave it, chase it, and sometimes question why we need so much of it in the first place. Yet every generation has a machine that pushes the boundary further, that turns family practicality into raw, mechanical spectacle. It is not about the badge or the price tag, it is about the feeling of control over something that should not be so civilized. Today, we explore one of the boldest examples of that paradox, a vehicle that fuses supercar muscle with suburban sensibility. It is the latest expression of excess and engineering discipline wrapped in one. Stick around as we uncover how this unlikely creation became both a symbol of rebellion and a masterclass in American engineering. Like the video, subscribe for more deep dives, and tell us in the comments which performance machine you want explored next. The 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat is not supposed to exist, at least, not in a world racing toward electrification and efficiency targets. Yet here it is, unapologetic and amplified, a three-row SUV that channels the energy of a supercar while carrying the school-run cargo of daily life. To understand why it matters, we have to start with Dodge itself, a brand that has built an entire identity on defying expectations and doubling down on horsepower when everyone else leaned into silence and restraint. The Durango SRT Hellcat sits at the crossroads of this philosophy. It is the physical manifestation of Dodge's determination to celebrate combustion while it still can. The first time it appeared in 2021, it shocked the industry. It was supposed to be a one-year wonder, a send-off for the big V8 era. But consumer demand and corporate strategy shifted. The return of the Hellcat in 2024 is more than nostalgia. It is a message to loyalists that Dodge refuses to go quietly. The heart of the Durango SRT Hellcat is a supercharged 6.2-liter Hemi V8 producing 710 horsepower and 645 pound-feet of torque. Those are absurd numbers for a 7-seat family SUV, yet, Dodge has engineered it to be surprisingly civilized under light throttle. Tap the pedal harder, and the calm suburban cruiser transforms into a 4-ton missile that can reach 60 miles per hour in about 3.5 seconds. The sound alone separates it from everything else in its segment. It is not a refined hum, but a mechanical roar that reminds you there is no replacement for displacement. Dodge uses a reinforced 8-speed automatic transmission, all-wheel drive, and upgraded cooling to manage the chaos. Engineers redesigned the torque converter and transmission calibration to balance brutal acceleration with towing capability. This balance between savagery and stability defines the SRT Hellcat's unique personality. Performance numbers are easy to list but harder to contextualize. The Durango SRT Hellcat is not simply fast for its size, it redefines what an SUV can be. Many performance SUVs from Europe or Japan chase lap times. The Durango focuses on drama and character. It can tow up to 8,700 pounds, outperforming many trucks, yet it also runs a quarter mile in the mid-11-second range. That duality is key to its appeal. 1 minute it hauls kids, the next it hauls down a drag strip. Dodge did not design it to chase efficiency awards or cornering finesse, it was engineered to deliver sensation. Every input, the throttle, the steering, even the brake feel, reminds the driver this is a vehicle designed for emotion, not moderation. Inside, the 2024 Durango SRT Hellcat surprises with refinement. Dodge has evolved past its rougher interiors of the past. The cabin features leather and suede upholstery, SRT-specific gauges, and optional red seatbelts that reinforce its performance roots. The flat-bottom steering wheel and metal paddle shifters emphasize control. The 10.1-inch touchscreen integrates Uconnect 5 with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The interior delivers a sense of theater, ambient lighting, adaptive cruise, and 3-zone climate control make it more than a weekend toy. It is part muscle car, part luxury family hauler. The seats are bolstered enough for track work yet comfortable enough for road trips. This dual nature is what makes the Durango SRT Hellcat intriguing. The SUV's chassis tuning complements its brute strength. Dodge engineers recalibrated suspension geometry and adaptive dampers to handle the weight while maintaining control under heavy acceleration. Brembo brakes with 6-piston front calipers ensure stopping power matches the output. Ride quality remains firm but livable. In track mode, the vehicle feels unnaturally composed for something weighing over 5,700 pounds. The steering is heavy and deliberate. It invites you to drive with purpose. In many ways, the Durango SRT Hellcat feels like a last salute to analog driving sensations before electric dominance sets in. Yet, there is more beneath the surface than just noise and numbers. The 2024 Durango SRT Hellcat represents an identity statement for Dodge as a brand. With the Charger and Challenger evolving toward hybrid and electric futures, this SUV carries the torch for raw combustion. Its existence challenges assumptions about what buyers still want. Many families crave performance wrapped in practicality. This model delivers both without compromise. But it also sparks debate. Is it responsible to produce such a machine in an era of environmental awareness? Dodge's answer lies in freedom of choice. They are not pretending the Durango Hellcat is efficient, they are acknowledging that desire and rationality often live on opposite sides of the road. This balance between rebellion and realism is why enthusiasts respect the Durango SRT Hellcat. It does not try to disguise its intent. It is a muscle car wearing an SUV's suit. It is a family vehicle that speaks the language of power. And yet, it behaves with surprising composure on long drives. Its adaptive damping and quiet cruising capability mean it can handle mundane duties without complaint. That is the brilliance of its engineering. The same platform that delivers tire-spinning acceleration can also deliver comfort and control. The 2024 refresh brought small but meaningful updates. Improved cooling, updated software, and refined interior materials separate it from the original 2021 run. Dodge learned from customer feedback. The cabin feels more premium, and the tech suite more intuitive. This progression underscores Dodge's intent to make the SRT Hellcat not just a spectacle but a livable machine. It is no longer just a collector's novelty, it is a legitimate flagship for the brand's SUV lineup. As the automotive world shifts towards silence, the Durango SRT Hellcat thrives on sound. Its supercharger whine is part of its personality, it becomes addictive. Even those skeptical of excess find themselves intrigued by its unapologetic character. It proves that emotion still sells. There is a sense of pride in owning something mechanical, visceral, and loud in a landscape increasingly defined by algorithms and efficiency ratings. The deeper significance of the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat lies not just in what it does, but what it represents. It embodies a transition period where combustion and electrification coexist uneasily. It symbolizes a moment when engineers could still celebrate horsepower without apology. The Durango SRT Hellcat is not a rebellion against progress, it is a reminder that performance can coexist with practicality. In this segment, we have traced how the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat redefines what a family vehicle can be, why it exists, and how Dodge has positioned it as both an engineering feat and a cultural statement. It thrives in contradiction, and that is precisely why it fascinates. Next, we will explore the deeper forces that shaped its return, the cultural, corporate, and emotional currents that made Dodge bring the Hellcat back when everyone else was turning the page. The story of the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat does not begin in a design studio, it begins in the tension between nostalgia and necessity. Dodge had retired the Hellcat after the 2021 model year, citing emissions restrictions and shifting market priorities. Yet the outcry from fans, dealers, and even internal teams made its absence feel premature. The demand for one last hurrah of raw combustion was overwhelming. Inside Dodge, executives realized something crucial. Performance was not just a product feature, it was the brand's emotional core. Without it, the identity of the brand risked fading into conformity. The 2024 Durango SRT Hellcat was greenlit not as a mass-market decision but as a morale statement, an act of loyalty to enthusiasts who felt left behind by the silent future. When Dodge revived the Durango SRT Hellcat, they did not simply reissue the old model. Engineers faced tighter emission standards, higher expectations for comfort, and growing competition from hybridized performance SUVs. The challenge was to make it relevant in a new era without dulling its edge. They reworked the software management of the supercharged Hemi, improved thermal efficiency, and refined suspension mapping to make the vehicle more controllable under high load. Every small improvement mattered. Even the air intake paths were redesigned to enhance cooling while reducing induction noise fatigue on long trips. These details turned a showpiece into a daily capable powerhouse. But there is a deeper reason Dodge fought to resurrect the Durango SRT Hellcat. The automotive world is undergoing its most radical shift in a century. Electric propulsion promises instant torque and near-silent operation. For engineers raised on combustion soundtracks, that silence is unsettling. The Hellcat engine, known internally as the Hellcrate, became a totem of a vanishing skill set. Building it was not just about marketing, it was about preserving mechanical heritage before regulatory windows closed. The decision to reintroduce it in 2024 allowed Dodge to demonstrate mastery one final time, to prove that brute force engineering could still deliver refinement when paired with modern electronics and all-wheel drive sophistication. Inside Dodge, the development process was described as a balancing act between legacy and compliance. Engineers were under pressure to meet federal emissions requirements while maintaining the 710 horsepower output. They achieved it through software calibration and optimized combustion timing, squeezing every ounce of performance without crossing legal thresholds. This kind of engineering precision often goes unnoticed, but it reflects the maturity of a team that has been perfecting the Hellcat platform for nearly a decade. The result is a machine that feels raw but is remarkably disciplined. It accelerates like a supercar but idles like a family SUV. That dual nature is not an accident, it is a deliberate philosophical statement. The corporate context adds another layer. Stellantis, Dodge's parent company, is investing heavily in electrification under its Dare Forward 2030 plan. Yet they recognize that heritage matters. For Dodge, performance is not a side project, it is the soul of the brand. The 2024 Durango SRT Hellcat serves as a bridge between the V8 era and the electric age. It reassures traditional buyers that passion will not disappear, even as propulsion systems change. This balance of old and new is what keeps Dodge relevant. Where many brands abandoned their loud roots to chase global efficiency averages, Dodge decided to give its loyalists one more authentic experience. The Durango SRT Hellcat's return also reveals the psychological power of mechanical drama. Enthusiasts are not just buying speed, they are buying sound, vibration, and emotion. Electric performance may surpass it in numbers, but it cannot replicate the visceral engagement of a supercharged V8 under full throttle. That sensory connection explains why this SUV continues to capture attention. It taps into a primal fascination with force and motion, the same instinct that made early car culture irresistible. In this sense, the 2024 model is not just transportation, it is theater. Every cold start, every upshift, becomes a performance. From a business standpoint, the Hellcat's limited production status fuels its mystique. Dodge has kept volumes intentionally low, creating scarcity that sustains demand. Collectors view it as a piece of living history, a mechanical statement from a brand that refused to conform. Dealership allocations sell out rapidly, not just because of power but because of symbolism. The Hellcat badge has become a shorthand for authenticity in an era of marketing-driven performance. People buy it because it stands for something unfiltered, something unapologetic. At the engineering level, the Durango SRT Hellcat demonstrates how far Dodge has evolved in chassis management. Electronic stability systems now allow more nuanced control, letting skilled drivers explore limits safely. The all-wheel drive system distributes torque seamlessly, allowing this heavy SUV to behave like a much smaller machine through corners. The braking system, sourced from Brembo, features 15.7-inch front rotors that can withstand repeated high-speed deceleration without fade. Cooling channels direct air through the wheel wells to maintain consistent performance. These are not gimmicks, they are evidence of meticulous development. Each subsystem was tested under extreme thermal and mechanical stress to ensure durability worthy of the Hellcat name. Beyond mechanics, the return of the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat reflects the psychology of the American driver. Power has always carried symbolic weight in U.S. car culture. It is about freedom, identity, and self-expression. Even as electrification expands, there remains a large audience that connects emotionally with the rumble of a V8. For them, the Hellcat represents more than horsepower, it represents choice. Dodge recognized this and positioned the Durango Hellcat as the emotional counterpoint to the rational arguments of electrification. It says, you can have both power and practicality, and you can still enjoy the drive. This cultural resonance explains why the Durango SRT Hellcat inspires strong reactions. Some see it as an indulgent relic, others as a masterpiece of engineering defiance. Yet both views confirm its importance. The SUV's existence forces conversation about what kind of driving experiences we value. It challenges the industry to remember that emotion is as important as efficiency. By building this machine, Dodge kept the emotional DNA of driving alive just a little longer. In many ways, the Durango SRT Hellcat mirrors the muscle cars of the late 1960s. Those cars thrived in a period of excess before regulations reshaped the industry. The Hellcat occupies a similar place in history, a flashpoint between unrestricted performance and an impending shift toward sustainability. It stands at the edge of an era, embodying everything enthusiasts loved before silence became the standard. When historians look back at this transition period, vehicles like the 2024 Durango SRT Hellcat will be seen as milestones of resistance and artistry. In this sense, the SUV transcends its specs. It represents a conversation about identity, what driving used to mean and what it will mean next. Dodge understands that future performance will come from electric torque and software control, but they also understand that culture evolves slower than technology. The 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat has already left a mark beyond its performance figures. Its impact is cultural, emotional, and even philosophical. It questions what performance really means in an age where speed is effortless and silence is the new prestige. As electric SUVs chase 0 to 60 times with no drama and no sound, the Durango SRT Hellcat stands as a reminder that thrill is more than numbers on paper. It is about anticipation, vibration, and the human experience of power. When you start the Hellcat, you feel it in your chest before you even move. That sensory response connects people to driving in a way data never can. Owners of the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat often describe a sense of gratitude, not just for the speed, but for being able to experience the end of an era firsthand. They understand they are driving what could be the last of its kind, a full-size, three-row SUV powered by a supercharged V8 that sounds like nothing else on the road. This awareness changes how people treat it. Many use it daily, yet carefully. It becomes a symbol of rebellion wrapped in practicality, a family vehicle that honors mechanical history every time it fires up. The influence of the Durango SRT Hellcat extends to the market as well. It has pushed other manufacturers to rethink what defines a performance SUV. While most brands are shifting toward electrified powertrains, Dodge demonstrated that emotional engagement still matters. The success of the Hellcat, even in limited numbers, proves there is a profitable niche for high-performance internal combustion vehicles that deliver authenticity rather than conformity. It shows that passion, when engineered correctly, can still drive sales and brand loyalty. Automotive journalists often call the Durango SRT Hellcat the contradiction that works. On paper, it should not make sense. It is heavy, thirsty, and unapologetically loud. Yet it connects with people in ways sterile perfection cannot. Its handling, while not as sharp as some rivals, feels natural and intuitive. Its acceleration, though excessive, becomes intoxicating. Even the sound of the supercharger is engineered not just for performance, but for emotion. Dodge has built an experience that bypasses logic and goes straight to instinct. For enthusiasts, this SUV's existence validates their love of driving. It proves that mechanical connection still has a place in modern mobility. For skeptics, it highlights the contrast between desire and responsibility. But that tension is what makes it important. Every time a Durango Hellcat rolls onto the road, it starts a conversation about priorities. Should performance always be efficient, or should it sometimes be emotional? Should vehicles cater to statistics, or to stories? Dodge has answered with action rather than rhetoric. The 2024 Durango SRT Hellcat also affects how the public perceives Dodge as it transitions toward electrification. By delivering this final wave of supercharged power, the brand gains credibility to move forward. It tells enthusiasts, we remember where we came from. That sentiment builds trust, which will carry into the era of electric muscle. The emotional connection built by machines like the Hellcat cannot be replicated overnight by batteries and software. It requires legacy, and legacy comes from taking bold risks like this one. On a broader level, the Hellcat phenomenon underscores how automotive culture reflects society itself. In times of uncertainty, people gravitate toward the familiar, toward something that feels alive and tangible. The roar of a V8 is more than sound. It is identity, memory, and defiance combined. When drivers hear that supercharger scream, they are reminded of what made them fall in love with cars in the first place. That emotional charge carries weight, even for those who never intend to buy one. The Durango SRT Hellcat becomes a shared symbol for car culture's human side. From an industry perspective, it is a fascinating business study. Producing a vehicle like the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat requires balancing financial reality with brand ethos. It is expensive to engineer, consumes significant resources, and must navigate regulatory complexity. Yet its marketing value far exceeds its sales numbers. It draws traffic into showrooms, sparks discussions online, and positions Dodge as the bold alternative in a cautious market. In other words, the Hellcat is as much a brand-building tool as it is a performance machine. The driving experience itself reinforces why it matters. Behind the wheel, the Durango SRT Hellcat feels alive. The throttle response is immediate, the steering deliberate, the ride communicative. It invites respect rather than recklessness. Drivers soon realize the goal is not constant speed but controlled engagement, the pleasure of feeling the machine respond precisely to every input. Even under high load, the all-wheel drive system maintains composure, keeping power delivery balanced and predictable. This refinement transforms brute strength into usable performance. For families, the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat represents a rare chance to blend excitement with practicality. Few vehicles allow you to tow a boat, carry 7 passengers, and out-accelerate a sports car, all with warranty coverage and air conditioning running. It satisfies multiple roles without compromise. Parents who grew up with muscle cars can share that passion with their children while enjoying modern safety systems and creature comforts. It turns ordinary errands into moments of connection, proving that performance need not be selfish. From an environmental standpoint, critics argue that the Durango Hellcat is out of step with modern priorities. But even this criticism highlights its role as a cultural artifact. It marks the point where society began shifting from indulgence to restraint. Future historians will look back at vehicles like this as the closing chapter of an age defined by sound and sensation. In that sense, the Durango SRT Hellcat is more than a machine, it is documentation of a mindset. It records what we valued before progress redefined the rules. Its legacy will not be measured solely in sales or speed records. It will be remembered for how it made people feel. For many, the Hellcat name represents courage, the courage to build something emotionally charged in a world obsessed with efficiency. That is why the 2024 Durango SRT Hellcat will continue to be discussed long after the last one rolls off the line. It embodies the intersection of art, engineering, and defiance. In the years ahead, as Dodge transitions to electric platforms, the spirit of the Hellcat will evolve rather than vanish. The lessons learned from tuning, feedback, and emotion will carry into new propulsion technologies. Electric motors can deliver instant torque, but Dodge knows the experience must still excite the senses. The challenge will be translating sound and vibration into new forms of engagement. The Durango Hellcat, then, becomes the blueprint for how emotion can coexist with innovation. By existing, the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat forces the industry to remember what made driving magical. It is not the silence of efficiency that inspires people to look back at their cars after parking them. It is personality, unpredictability, and character. Dodge captured that essence one more time and bottled it inside a practical, powerful package. The 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat stands at the edge of two eras, one fueled by gasoline and thunder, the other powered by silence and precision. Its significance stretches beyond torque figures or top speed. It represents a final chorus for mechanical emotion before technology rewrites the language of performance. In an age where algorithms increasingly define how we move, the Hellcat reminds us that machines once spoke through sound and vibration, through the tangible feedback of metal, fuel, and motion. What the Durango SRT Hellcat delivers is not just horsepower, it delivers memory. It takes drivers back to a time when performance felt personal, when a throttle pedal connected human intent to mechanical will. That experience cannot be digitized or replicated through software updates. It must be felt. And Dodge, with this vehicle, ensures that feeling remains accessible to anyone bold enough to seek it. The future will bring electric powertrains that outperform this SUV in every measurable way. They will be quicker, cleaner, and quieter. But none will replace the cultural resonance of the Hellcat. Its sound has become a language of its own, a declaration of identity in a world that often values conformity. The 2024 Durango SRT Hellcat embodies the notion that performance should stir emotion as much as it delivers results. It teaches us that power, when paired with purpose, becomes art. For Dodge, this SUV serves as both a conclusion and a promise. The conclusion of the supercharged V8 era, and the promise that the passion behind it will evolve rather than disappear. As the brand prepares to introduce new electrified muscle models, the lessons from the Hellcat will shape how future vehicles feel and respond. Sound may fade, but engagement must remain. The next generation of performance machines will draw inspiration from the same source, the human desire for connection, excitement, and control. For drivers, the legacy of the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat is personal. It celebrates freedom, the freedom to choose character over conformity, experience over efficiency. It is not a rejection of progress, it is a reminder that innovation must respect emotion. The true value of the Hellcat lies not in its rarity or power output, but in how it makes people feel alive behind the wheel. In the grand timeline of automotive history, this vehicle will be remembered as a bold punctuation mark, signaling the end of one chapter and the uncertain beginning of another. The Hellcat's legacy will live wherever drivers still crave engagement and emotion. Long after the last exhaust note fades, its story will echo as proof that performance, when done with passion, can transcend trends. So as we close this story, the message is clear. The 2024 Dodge Durango SRT Hellcat is not just an SUV, it is an experience, a philosophy, and a farewell to the sound of unfiltered power. It invites us to look forward without forgetting what made us fall in love with driving in the first place. Its spirit will continue, not through replication, but through inspiration, reminding every future engineer, designer, and driver that emotion is the heartbeat of progress.